Netflix, you don't need cable. Hop on YouTube, welcome to the hood table, where we chop up local and global events vocally. You don't really wanna miss out on these conversations. Just joke a little, laugh a little, get that wine in your system, fill your glass a little, expose current events, talk trash a little. You never know, these opinions might clash a little. They addicted to the content, got them binge watching. You don't like it, then you want invited. Bet your friends watching in the house or in your job parking lot before you clocking. They don't wanna miss a second of this HT content. Everybody think they got something to say, so it's an open invitation, bring it to the table. But if you come whack, just know we ain't buying in. We gon' probably turn your back and tell you sorry, try again. Yeah, welcome to the hood table. You don't need Netflix, you don't need cable. Yeah, welcome to the hood table. You don't need Netflix, you don't need cable.
Hey, good morning. Good morning. Hey, everyone. How are you guys doing? Happy Thursday, y'all. It is Thirsty Thursday, y'all. Child. Come on in. Come on in. Make sure you guys like and share the video on your way in. As you saw the banner, we are on the road to 9K, to 9 Kizzo. So please make sure you are liking and sharing the video. Please and thank you so much. What up, Drea? How you doing? You said who was found? Child, Jarvis Butts. Jarvis Butts. Jarvis Butts was found dead in his prison cell today. This is breaking news, you guys. Some of you guys have probably already seen it, but this is breaking news. I just found out like an hour ago, and I was like, Tay Bay, you said I was looking for you. You already know I was going to come through. I was going to slide on y'all over this shit right here, nigga. Hey, RY, how you doing, love? I so much enjoyed your show yesterday, and I am looking forward to your next Girl Talk show as well. But yes. You said congratulations. Thank you, Sunshine. Hey, Sunshine, how you doing, love? Good morning, everyone. It's not a good morning for everyone today, but I don't even think it's a good morning for the family of Naziah either. But we're going to get into this story, this breaking news. For those of y'all who don't know who Jarvis Butts is, Jarvis Butts, he was accused of unaliving the beautiful 12-year-old Naziah Harris. He was sentenced to prison on March 12th for unaliving her and essaying other girls. And he received a 35 to 60-year sentence. Now, I and the beautiful Sislo, who's from D-Town, you know where this story derives from, we have been covering this story since day one. She unfortunately couldn't join me this morning because you know she would, but she's under the weather right now, so let's keep her in our prayers right now. But yeah, 43-year-old Jarvis Butts pleaded guilty to second-degree murder for the death of Naziah, who was 13. He was also sentenced to 10 to 15-year sentences for sexually assaulting children. And it was like 6 other children that he also assaulted. Now, keep in mind, you guys, that he, before being sentenced just some weeks ago, he had already done 10 years in the past, right? He had already done 10 years in the past for doing stuff to little girls, right? He gets out of prison after 10-year sentence. He gets out of prison, and mind you also, every person that he met, as far as a female, a woman, he always would date women with young girls that he could groom, not teenagers, not grown children. He would always date women with young children that he could groom. And then he would take advantage of them. He did it. It was his pattern. It was his MO. That's what he did. That was his skilo. And he did that with every woman. He had kids with all of them. And he would be having sex with all the women. He would be having sex with all the women. After he would leave a woman, he would find another woman, mess around with their kids, still be messing around with the other kids because he stayed in their lives, right? You know how some fathers, they run into another woman, they meet another lady, but they still stay in the other woman's life because, you know, that they got kids with them. But these women were also women who didn't mind him being with other women. Even Nazia's auntie, who Jarvis Butts was messing with, at the time that she was unalived, he was messing with her niece Nazia, messing with his own kids, and messing with the kids of his past relationships, and sleeping with the women as well. Nazia's auntie, who was the most recent lady who was with Jarvis Butts upon, you know, the disappearance of Nazia, she even testified in court that she knew he was still messing around with the other ladies. This man, I mean, damn. I can see you sleeping with a whole bunch of women, being unfaithful, but sleeping with a whole bunch of women and your own kids and their kids. That's a nasty motherfucker. What's up, lovely life? How you doing? What up, Ronnie Q? How you doing, love? Sour Patch, good morning. How are you guys today? Please make sure you like and share the video on the way in. Child. He dated yes, he was dating the auntie at the time of her disappearance, of Nazia's disappearance. He was dating the auntie and had kids by the auntie. They had 5 kids together. Altogether, he had 12 kids. He had kids by every woman that he messed with, and he was messing with the kids. His own kids. His own kids. And the ones that weren't even his. But, you know, some of the evidence that proved that he had did this, because I know a lot of people wasn't, you know, following this story totally, but some of the evidence was the text messages. These were the main key components to the sentencing of 35 to 60 years. Let me read some of the text messages. This is from September 27th, 2022. He says, this is the text messages. Okay, I'm going to say he and her for him and Nazia. He said, come on. Wait, hold on. Let me reverse. She said, come on. You okay? Where are we doing it at? Your choice. He said, you tell me. She said, basement. You sure? Or your job. He said, can you suck my D, please? He said, and make sure you erase the messages. She says, K. That is what I plan to do. You know, kids, they use them 1-letter things. I hate when grown-ups use them 1-letter things. K. You that lazy to put an O in front of that K? But anyway, that's how you can also tell that you're usually texting with kids. But she said, K, that is what I plan to do. June 5th, 2022. He says, I'm at your house. She says, damn, we were just here. She said, you better not be in my room. She said, I need another phone. She said, I miss you. He said, I stole your panties. This grown-ass nigga who's dating her auntie and got kids by her auntie said, I stole your panties to this 12, 13-year-old girl. June 24th, 2023. He said, send me some pictures, please. She said, don't you still got the other pics? He said, no. She said, I'll send you some. He said, are you naked yet? She said, no, I don't want to get naked. She said, are you mad if I don't get naked? He said, I used to you telling me no. She said, come on, babe. I'm sorry. Just not in the mood right now. I'm sorry. These are some of the messages. September 26, 2023. She says, babe, you up? She says, question mark, question mark, question mark. She says, yeah. He said, no, wait a minute. Yeah. She says, my period haven't came at all. Y'all hear me? September 26, 2023. She says, my period hasn't came at all. She said, are you there? He said, what do you mean? She said, it hasn't came. He said, since when? She said, since I was in the hospital. He said, that was last month. She said, I'm scared. I don't know what to do. I have to go to the doctor tomorrow. He said you took a pregnancy test and it was negative. She said it did. He said, so go get another one. She said, I don't have the money. She said, you got to get one. She said, you ain't scared to get a plan B? Get a pregnancy test and bring it later today. Just act like you have to use the bathroom. She said, please, will you do it? November 27, 2023. She says, I just want to talk. I really don't want to lose you. Can we talk later? Yes or no? She said, I don't know what the problem is, but I need you to bring me what I need tonight. It's hard doing all this gym shit with this baby. And if I don't do them, I'm going to get an F. January 9th, 2024. This is, by the way, the final text message between Jarvis Butts and Naziah Harris before she went missing. She said, don't forget to be there before 3. I will let you know when I'm leaving the school. If you're not there, I will wait. She said, send okay if you see this message so I can delete your number. And he sent okay. And that was the last text message between the two of them. She texted him from school. He was supposed to pick her up from school. That's just some of the evidence. Some of the evidence that determined the fate during his sentencing. So not only was it the digital evidence such as text messages and phone recordings linking him to Naziah, there was witness testimony from her 9-year-old cousin who witnessed him assaulting Naziah. There was cell phone tower tracking data that indicated Naziah's movements on the day she went missing. Forensic findings and evidence suggested he had an inappropriate relationship with Naziah, which from the text messages, it was quite obvious. She was pregnant. He knew she was pregnant. She was scared. She was trying to get rid of it. He told her, I thought you said it was negative. I don't really think the girl even took, I don't think it was negative. I think she said it was negative because I think she was scared. She probably thought she could take a day after pill or something like that to get rid of it. Or, even grown women sometimes they think they're pregnant and they just pray it away. You know what I mean? Like, hope it's not true. Hope it goes away. At 12, 13 years old, you pregnant by a 30-something-year-old nigga, your auntie's nigga, your cousin's daddy. Like, just imagine all the shit that she was going through that was running through her mind. She talking about in gym class, she can't do certain things because, if she don't, she'll get an F. But the baby is preventing her from doing everything she needs to do in gym class. Gym class. Anyway, they sentenced him to 35 to 60 years for second-degree murder. Again, it was six other people that he was charged, 6 others that he was charged for, including her. Only her unaliving, but the other ones was for the essays that he was involved in. And so all that together gave him the 35 to 60-year sentence. You said, wait, what the hell? Yes. This is crazy. Like, I'm gonna play this little clip because, like I said, me and Sislo been we've been covering this for a minute. So right here, I'm gonna play this little clip. This is from like over a dang year ago, I believe, like a year ago when we was discussing this stuff. And make sure you also please like and share the video on your way in. I'm sure she was very afraid. Hell, I was afraid with my first baby and I was grown. That's some scary shit. Being pregnant with your first child. Shoot. They never found her. But here's the thing, Sour Patch. Here's the thing, baby. His sentence was contingent on him giving them the details of where her body is. Where her body is. The sentencing was on March 12th. And he received 35 to 60 years again for second-degree murder of Naziah, 13 years old and pregnant at the time of her death. In addition, he received 5 concurrent sentences of 10 to 15 years for criminal sexual conduct involving minors, covering victims ages 4 through 17 years old. All sentences are to be served concurrently, and Butts will not be eligible for parole until he has served at least 35 years in Michigan Department of Corrections. Now, the sentencing followed a plea agreement in which Butts admitted guilt to second-degree murder and multiple counts of sexual assault before his scheduled trial. So before he went to trial, he did a plea deal. He pled to her murder, unaliving her. He pled to all those other cases. And as part of the plea, he provided a statement regarding the location of Harris's body. And this is what Riggs and I was talking about last week on our Sunday show from the Block to the Hood table. We also had Sislo on that show with us as well to chime in on this, on the sentencing, because again, me and Sislo have been following this for a minute. So she joined Riggs and I on our Sunday show. And the thing is, it will not be publicly disclosed, at least not by the authorities. At least now, if anybody was to say anything, it would definitely be like the family of Naziah, because I, for one, was like, damn, y'all can't tell us where the body was. Y'all can't like prove for sure that he really did unalive her, and y'all got proof like where her body is. But then again, if he like dumped her and if he like burned her, or if he put her in a river or a lake, or somewhere where she might have floated away or something like that, there probably wouldn't be no evidence. But if there's evidence of a body, I was like, damn, I understand y'all really wanted this, him to plead guilty for that shit, but damn, like, y'all know how many people helped search for that little girl? I mean, how many people have prayed for that little girl and advocated for that little girl? And it was like a lot going on when she passed away, even up until now. And then, but I guess, the family, they was like, okay, just tell her where she is, because they probably wanted his ass to have life. And he probably would have got life had he went to trial. If not the death sentence, because I don't even know. No, I don't think they can give a death sentence without a body. Yeah, I don't think they can give a death sentence without a body. But I'm absolutely not 100% sure on that, so don't quote me on it. But yeah, I don't think he will ever tell. But see, this is the crazy part, is because he was supposed to tell where the body was. He was sentenced 2 weeks ago. So I'm assuming he told where the body was. But then it makes me question, like when Riggs and me and Sislo was discussing this last week, I was like, how do we know? How did the family know? How do the authorities know? Especially if the body's not there. Because you can unalive somebody in a certain spot, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to find anything there. He could always say, well, this is where it happened. I don't know where she at now. You know what I'm saying? So how could they be 100% sure that he ain't lying? And that's why I was like, damn, that's crazy. Child, hi, how you doing? Damn YouTube. How you doing? Did I miss anybody? Good morning, Stacy Robinson. Good morning. Yeah, they never found her, but evidently, he told them where she was. And you said, what's really disgusting, Just Andrea? You dating a man that was in prison for 10 years for messing with kids. 10 years for messing with kids. And you fuck with, man, There is reasons I would date a man, not date a man for less. But for messing with a kid and being in prison for 10 years, not only are you not even supposed to be around children, like you're not, child, you know what, man, it's the desperation of it all for me. Good morning, Miss LA. How you doing? Yeah, they said it was near a river. Remember the last place his phone pinged? It was near a river. And see, that's why I said he could say his he did, unalive her or whatever. But if it was near a river, like when I first started speaking about this a couple years ago, I was like, if it was near a river and that's the last place his phone pinged, then he probably dumped her in the river. He probably dumped her in the river. I mean, I don't know if y'all can recall. I don't know if y'all can recall, but years ago there was a case here. Well, not right here, but like down the road, like a couple of hours down the road. A man by the name of Joshua Keto was convicted in a 2010 murder. And the student, I mean the lady or the young lady that he unalived was a Peru State college. Hold on, let me mute that. It was a Peru State College student. I covered this story from the beginning to the end. I also went to the trial. Every day we drove to Gage County, me and about 8 other people, to cover this case. Being that I do have the Hood Table is not just a YouTube channel. Some of y'all know that it's actually an LLC, entertainment company, news, media. So I can like request, passes for, to go to court cases and things like that to record and, just like the news people, right? And so we was down there and we went every day. And also, by the way, if you do have something like that, you have to like request that shit, at least like a month or a few months in advance. But we had went down there like every day to see this guy get sentenced. What came out was, I don't know if y'all are familiar with the Missouri River, the Mighty Mo. It goes like all the way from up here in the Midwest, all the way down to the SIP. Okay. A really big, deep, raging, dangerous river. People here don't even fuck with that river. Like some people go there to fish, but swimming and all, no. A lot of people have died in that mug. Anyway, this man, unalived Tyler, the young lady's name, the Peru State college student, he unalived her because he kept trying to get with her and she kept putting him off, showing no interest. I don't want to mess with you, stuff like that. He was obsessed with her and he unalived her. He dumped her body in the Missouri River. He still ended up getting 71 years, but her body obviously was never recovered. And there was a lot of, I'm not going to go all into the case, but if you want to follow it, you can just go through my playlist and just type in, Joshua Keto. And I covered the whole, the transcripts. I was in court. You know how they be doing the transcripts now? And people be watching and they be taking the transcripts. I was doing that shit in court and coming back and reading all the transcripts. And thank God for shorthand and speed writing that I took in high school and college. Because, boy, you got to write quick than a motherfucker to keep up with everything that's being said in real time in court. But it was a lot. It was a lot. But I covered it. And it was just crazy because a lot of people, really, really wanted her body to be found, but it was never found. And so what I'm saying is, with him, same thing. He could say that he dumped her body in the water and the body is never found. We don't know 100% sure, though, if he dumped the body in the water. He could have been smart and just went there, let his phone ping there, maybe turn his phone off, dump her somewhere else. I don't know how smart the nigga is, but he could have put her in the water. With Joshua Keto, though, it was proof that he was actually at that place. It was her purse was found there. It was different things. They actually found stuff near the river, near the Missouri River. So they definitely could prove that she was there. You know what I'm saying? His phone and her phone both pinged there. But in this case, I'm not 100% sure that nigga would tell the truth. That he wouldn't lie. But I don't know. That's the $1 million question. And I felt like they should have made that nigga tell. Not just them, but we should all know. I felt like we should all know. We, the public, should know. That's just how I feel. Okay. Maybe I'm being, I don't know. But let me go ahead and play this little bit that from me and Sislo like a year or so ago. What questions would you have asked?
What question? Where's she at?
Right.
Where's she at? Forget all the other stuff. Where is she? Or where do you think she could be? If you were thinking like him, where would you have taken her?
Right,
To be
because
perfectly honest, I don't know why they didn't.
that Shannon lady been with that man how long? They got how many kids together? She been with him for a long time.
They have
Her.
they had 5 kids together.
Right.
But he got like 13 kids.
Yeah, because she ain't the only baby
All
mama.
over the place. And he was still getting with all of them.
Yep.
And here's the thing.
And she knew that, Sislo. She even confessed to knowing that in court.
Not only did she know that, but that baby, that wasn't the only baby that he was grooming.
Nope.
He's got like 8 or 9 other cases pending against him, allegedly.
And was already in prison for years for some and got out.
Exactly. But here's the thing. It would have been, I want to know, number one, did you have something to do with it? You know what I'm saying? But the only question I want to know right now is where is she at? But I would have probably, since she's so hard or tries to be so hard, I would have played on her emotional side, like breaking her down first.
Yeah.
Ministering to that tough side of her. Soften her up. And then just say, baby, I know your conscience is tearing you up. If you were him, where do you think she would be? But I'm going to tell you this, and this breaking on your channel. I would have gone to a scrapyard because he's a mechanic. They scrap cars every day.
Absolutely.
They scrap them for parts. All of that. I would have checked a scrapyard.
The perfect place to look, because like we seen that in movies, right? People would murk somebody and they put them in a car and take it in the scrapyard and squash them. And yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And hey, Just Andrea, how you doing, boo? How you doing? Come on in. Make sure you guys like the video. Okay, so that was over a year ago, when we first started covering the case. That was a while back. I done several videos on the case, since then, but we still have the same questions like, where's she at? That's what a lot of people wanted to know. Where's she at? He did finally get a plea deal, and he did, it was contingent on him telling the authorities where she was, for the sake of the family. But did he tell the truth? Is the question. So again, Sunshine, they say that was contingent on his sentence on the plea deal. That was part of the plea deal. He had to say where her body was, but again, I'm not sure if he told where the body was or not. And then we find out today, child. What's up? How you doing, Mr. Boston? Good morning. Come on in. Make sure you like and share the video on the way in, please, and thank you so very much. I'm gonna play this other quick clip for you guys. This is from last week. It was me, Sislo, and Riggs, and we was covering the actual sentencing. So I'm gonna put this on the screen for you guys, for those of y'all who might have missed it.
Welcome back. And more news tonight. Jarvis Butts, the man who pleaded guilty to the murder of Naziah Harris and multiple other sex assault cases, will spend the next 35 to 60 years in prison.
That decision came today after some of his victims were able to confront him face to face. Our J. Scott Smith has more on an emotional day in court.
It has been 2 years and 2 months since I reported Naziah missing. I want you to know that my life will never be the same. I had to remind myself that my niece Naziah isn't coming back.
I hope that every victim and my niece and nephew can heal.
Jarvis Butts sat stoically in a green jumpsuit, a mask covering his face, his arms and legs shackled as one by one women spoke of the impact the 43-year-old child predator has had on their lives. Butts will spend the next 35 to 60 years in prison for killing 13-year-old Naziah Harris, bringing an end to years of terrorizing young girls. A number of people were ejected after an argument broke out. Harris's grandmother, Annette Harris, her aunt, Marquita Harris, along with Butts' sister, Tijuana, as well as some of Butts' previous victims, all giving powerful impact statements.
My brother knows that I've been victim of sexual assault, and he knows the pain that caused. I can't understand why he would want to cause that to an innocent child.
Butts sat silently, saying nothing when given a chance to speak at the end. Butts and Harris knew each other because he was the father of her cousins. She disappeared on January 9, 2024 when she didn't return home from school. Butts, whose criminal history goes back to 1997, had a history of targeting and befriending women, then getting close to them before eventually grooming and sexually abusing their daughters. And it appears that all that may have finally ended with him being let out of that courtroom in shackles.
I hate you. I wish nothing but the worst for you. I despise you.
Each of the powerful voices that spoke during the sentencing hearing today expressed one clear theme, that a man like Jarvis Butts does not need to see the streets again. And thanks to this plea deal, he very likely will not.
So that was just a few weeks ago. That's just a few weeks ago. And I would be just like his sister. I would be just so appalled. Like, first of all, as his sister, she already knew, that he had went to prison for like 10 years, because of messing with kids. And then when he met Naziah's auntie, he had kids by her, 5, and then started messing with Naziah, her niece. So the sister already knew his past. But as a sister, and me as a victim of that as well, that's what I'm saying. As his sister, if I was his sister, I would really be like really fucked up in the head, because my brothers and my sisters and my cousins, you know how family is. Family, we talk, we tell each other shit, we know shit. And so I was a victim too of that when I was younger, and my brothers know. So let me find out that they doing the same thing to little kids, boys or girls. I would be like heartbroken. Like, how the fuck could you do something like that? And I went through something like that, and it affected me for a long time. For a long time. I couldn't find myself to forgive the person who did it for a long time. So for me to find that out, and for you to see me suffer through that, you know what I'm saying? Like, I remember one time when my oldest brother, not my oldest because I'm the oldest, but when my older of the younger brothers found out, like, he fought the person and he hit him so hard that he knocked his shoulder out of place. So, like, for you to like come to my aid and come to my defense, my little brother hit that motherfucker so hard he knocked his shoulder out of place, fucked him up. And for me to find out later in life that you're doing the same thing to little girls, that would just like fuck me up. Like, really, really, that would break my heart. But anytime people do that to kids, I have a real softness, soft heart for that shit. You know what I'm saying? And I've always been very protective over my kids because of that shit, because I know that shit happens in families. It happens with neighbors. It happens in church. It happens in school. It happens everywhere that you can imagine. That shit can happen. And that's why I was so overprotective with my sons when they was growing up. Albeit they are boys. We all know that boys are not, you know what I'm saying? They're not safe, from predators. Shoot, in a lot of cases, most people prefer boys. You know what I'm saying? So I know growing up, it was a big thing for mothers to always try to protect, and fathers always try to protect their daughters, and they would never teach their boys how to be protected in that way. And I know this for a fact. A lot of my friends, sisters, cousins, their parents was always tell us if somebody do this, watch out for this, be mindful of this, da 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 da. But with the boys, they wouldn't tell them shit. They wouldn't tell them shit. Boys hardly ever knew that they could be preyed on. Like what motherfucker gonna do with me? What? But I taught my sons all that shit when they were younger. I taught them the good spots, the bad spots, this, that, and that. If a motherfucker do this, if they look like they want to do that, if you even feel like uncomfortable, you better fucking get away. Let me know. Like, for real. Shit. I have to let my boys know. Yes, this stuff can happen to boys too. Be mindful. Be mindful. You said, why did the aunt not kick him out once she knew about Jarvis' criminal record? She knew before they even started dating. He was in prison for 10 years and got out and met her, and then they had 5 kids. So she knew his past before they even had one child. She's just one of those females that will, child. Okay, so we've been covering another story, right? The one with oh my God, what's his name? What is his name? From here. Nico Jenkins. Okay, so I've been covering Nico Jenkins. He's from here in my hometown. He's a serial killer. And he unalived like 5 people within like a matter of days, right? He was already in prison for like 14 years. He begged the judge and authorities to not let him out because he was going to kill people. They was like, well, shit, trying to make more space for the prison. And besides, the reason why he went in there was for carjacking and he beat somebody. But the reason why he got so many years was because of a lot of shit, his past history. He was in and out of jail as a youth, as a teenager. And then so just all the things that he did leading up to the carjacking and the beating of someone, the assault led to the 13, 14 years in prison. When he was in prison and they was trying to let him out, he said, do not let me out. They let that motherfucker out. Not even a month later, he done killed 5 people. Right here in our city. And so he got sentenced again, and he's in there right now for life. You know what? When he was sentenced for all the murders, a lady tried to marry him while he was in prison. And that's what I'm getting at. There are some people who don't give a fuck if they done murdered somebody, if they done essayed somebody. If you know what I'm saying, like I don't get that shit either. I really don't get that shit. But the lady who was, and I don't even know if they got married, but matter of fact, she had, it's crazy because she actually had commented under my video. The lady's name is Dawn Arguello. That's her name. And the title of the video that I did was called Nico Jenkins' Upcoming Marriage and Wallace Hubbard, because I was discussing 2 different things at the same time. But she actually commented under my video. And I was like, damn, if I could get her, on the show, that would be, that would be really awesome. But she never responded when I responded back to her. So it was like, all right, whatever. But yeah, somebody had commented under my video saying that the lady Dawn, they said she is a random. My Uncle Nico don't even know this girl. She just wants some clout. And so somebody else said, knowing that clown is nothing good to gloat about. And so then Dawn, she came into the chat and she said, I am sorry you feel this way. Nico knows me very well. And so I said, could you please email me at thehoodtable@hotmail.com? I would love to interview you and get an update on your situation. And then I said, I would love to have you on our show to do an update of you and Nico. And somebody else said to Don, they said, it's actually you. Wow. Let me ask you this. Why would you want to marry this man? We was having a whole damn conversation under my video. Somebody was like, oh my God, it's actually you. So yeah, she wanted to marry that fool, that crazy ass motherfucker. And he is crazy. He is, y'all look him up if you don't believe me. Nico Jenkins, very well known. Nationwide. He's crazy. Shit. That's one motherfucker. If you see him out and about, you better cross the street, turn the other way. Because he's crazy. Mentally crazy. Not just crazy like you call some people crazy. He's mentally crazy. He told the motherfucking judge, do not let me out. He said, nobody has got me any help. The mental help that he knows that he needed mental help. He told them. And, a lot of people blame the authorities and they blame the judges for letting his ass out after he told them not to let me out. And they let his ass out anyway. A month later, he went on a killing spree. Yep. Serial spree killer. That's what they call him. And, a serial killer is people who, they kill each other like over time. A serial spree killer is somebody who kills a lot of people back to back to back to back to back within like days or hours. That's what he was doing here. And good morning, Vibrant. How you doing? You said, why did the state allow a sex to reproduce? That's the question, a big question, Black Swan. How you doing, boo? Big question. It is very crazy to me because with child sex offenders, they're not supposed to be near children. They're not supposed to be near schools, daycares, all that kind of stuff. They got to register, with the state or whatever. And they have to report where they're living, when they move, if they change phone numbers, if they change jobs, all that kind of shit. But when they hook up with a woman and then they have kids, it's like, what do you do then? Like, can he be with his baby mama? And his pattern, his MO was to get with women who had kids, but he also would have kids with them as well. And then he would mess with their kids and he would mess with his kids. Like what he was sentenced for this time around, because mind you, he already did 10 years in the past for the same shit. This time around, it was for 5 girls between the age of 4 and 13. That was on top of unaliving Naziah. So on top of unaliving her, that was the murder. He was also charged for various degrees of sex crimes against 5 other girls between the ages of 4 and 13. They happened before Naziah disappeared. So he did 10 years for messing with kids. He got out. He messed with 5 more girls because, as y'all heard Sislo say on the video, he had like 8 cases. I guess they got him for 5. So you do 10 years, don't learn your lesson. Get out. Mess with 5 or more other girls between the ages of 4 and 13. That ain't enough. You continue, and now you're messing with your own niece. Your own, and it wasn't blood. Mind you, it wasn't blood because, it wasn't his niece. It was his girlfriend's niece, but still, that doesn't matter. It's a child. And unalived her and got her pregnant. Just imagine if he wouldn't have been charged for that and sentenced. Just imagine how many kids. You know what? Come to think of it, I never thought about this before. But you know when they usually catch people for some shit, whether it's a crime, whether it's drugs, whether it's a robbery, whether it's SA or whatever, it's usually not the first, second, third, fourth. You know what I'm saying? It could possibly be, and I really hope not, but it could possibly be a whole bunch of other girls out there, some of them who might have even delivered children. Don't say y'all ain't never heard of a child having a baby and never telling who the daddy is because they want to protect the daddy. It happens. You sure do. But that's the update, y'all. That's the update. Harris's body was found. I mean, not Harris's, I'm sorry, Neziah Harris's body was never found. But in the plea agreement, he did say that he would tell authorities where she was. But again, I don't believe him. If he was to say where she was, I don't believe that he would tell the truth. I really don't. And I think we got somebody in the background. Let me just put up my banner just to make sure. I think this is my boo, but just to make sure. Hey, sugar. Okay, you can go off cam. Hey, boo. Good morning. Are you there? Sislo? Sislo? Can y'all hear her? I can't hear you, sis. Is your sound turned all the way up? Good morning, Mel. How you doing, boo? Yep, it happens all the time, right, Sunshine? It happens all the time. Age 4. Where's the 4-year-old? This ish is crazy. The 4-year-old was one of the people that he was convicted for, during this 2 weeks ago. Yeah, Sislo, come back and try again. The judge should have been convicted as well. Yeah, he told them he had a problem. They knew he had a problem. The boy had been in youth homes, foster homes, the youth jail. He had been in juvie, all kinds of things. I'm gonna see if Sislo gonna come back. Sislo was supposed to join me, but she wasn't feeling too well, so I didn't think she was gonna join. But maybe she'll try to come back. And please make sure you like and share the video, please, and thank you very much. Thank you so much. Hold up, I'm about to pull up something for y'all real quick. Real quick. Oh my God, that wind out there is crazy. I know y'all can't hear it, but it sounds like people is banging on the walls. Hold on, let me read the chat, see if Sislo's in here. You said I just got here. Did he? See, I'm not sure about that either. I'm not sure because every time we discuss this, man, we be like, oh, he ain't gonna last long because you know what they do to people who mess with kids. You know what they do. And it was kind of like laughing matter of he ain't gonna last long. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like his ass might not make it to his next birthday. Just shit like that people say, when somebody goes into prison like that for crimes like that, and you just be messing around, joking around, but yeah, he might not last that long. Oh, okay. Sislo told me to send her the link. Okay. Let me send the link to her again. Hold on. I'm going to read the rest of y'all comments in a second. I'm just going to send Sislo the link. Hold on, Sissy Pooh. I'm going to send you the link. The old nasty piece of stinking link. Oh, I sent it to her Facebook. She want me to text it to her. Okay, Sislo, if you're listening, I just texted to you on your phone. But okay, let me just read a little bit of the background on Nico Jenkins, okay? So, starting at an early age, Jenkins had a lengthy history of mental health and behavioral issues. In 1993, while attending Highland Elementary here in Omaha, the 7-year-old Jenkins was temporarily removed from the custody of his mother after he brought a loaded .25 caliber handgun to school that was 7 years old. In 1995, Jenkins was treated at Richard Young Center. That's a center that treated people for mental illness back in the Gap. It was closed down during that time frame where a lot of mental centers was closed down across the United States. Richard Young Center, he was there. He was prescribed Ritalin. At 11 years old, he was accused of theft, subsequently admitting to stealing on 3 occasions. He began skipping school around the same time, leading to placement in a group home in Papillion, which is like about 45 minutes away. He frequently assaulted other children and was forced to leave the home in February of 98, following an incident in which he whipped another child with a clothes hanger. Throughout his years, Jenkins switched custody between his parents and a state-run youth detention center, beginning after he turned 12. He attacked someone with a knife at 12. Following a series of escapes, Jenkins had a problem revoked. He had probation revoked, and in August 2001, he was sent to Youth Rehab and Treatment Center in Kearney. That's about 2 hours away. In 2002, he was returned to his family, with Jenkins' father reporting his son for threatening him with a shotgun. The same year, Jenkins committed 2 armed carjackings, and in 2003, at age 16, he was sentenced to 18 years in prison. So between 2004 and 2012, he was disciplined on 71 different occasions, including assaulting other inmates, destruction of property, drug abuse, prison tattooing, gang activity, possession of contraband, crafting a chivvy from a toilet brush. He was also charged for participating in a prison riot. Okay, all this happened. All that happened. He served 14 years. He begged the judges not to let him out. He begged them not to let him out. And they let him out. And that's when he went on a serial murder spree. And let me see if this is Sislo back with us. Now, mind you, again, that's the same person that lady, Dawn, wanted to marry. She found out about him, started writing him when he was in prison, and she wanted to marry him. So when we talking about people who will mess with men, who will mess with children, sure, it's crazy people out there who mess with murderers, SAers, all that kind of stuff. I don't know why. Maybe they just as crazy or mentally, I don't know. Sislo, is that you, baby?
It's me.
I hear you now. Good morning. I know you was feeling under the weather. I don't know if something's wrong with you, Sislo. Y'all, I don't know what's going on with her.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Can you hear me, sis?
I don't worry about it.
Sislo. I don't know what's going on with her apparatus. The Detroit Free Press said Butts was an apparent suicide, but who knows, because the guards would definitely let that. Exactly. Thank you, Just Blaze. Thank you. The prison guards will let a motherfucker fuck you up. in prison, especially over some shit like that, because they can't stop it. They can't stop it unless they keep them by themselves in solitary confinement, away from everybody. There's no way to stop it. This case was so tragic and heartfelt among a lot of people. So I can't imagine all the people in prison who might even be maybe related to the family, or might know the family, or know somebody who know the family. Sure. But the only reason why I said at the beginning of the show that some people are probably not having a good morning today was probably because, of course, his family, they found out he unalived himself. Is bad enough to know your family member that went to prison again for doing the same shit he went to prison for before, messing with kids. But now to find out that he's dead. But with the family of Naziah Harris, me personally, yeah, it might feel good to have somebody unalived or something, but just for them to be in prison for 60-something years, not telling what's happening to them, I would prefer that justice over them just getting out of here quickly. There's no suffering. I feel like they get off easy by either unaliving themselves, or even if somebody handled it for them. That's crazy. Hey, Kimberly, good morning, boo. Did I speak to you already? Let me go back and read some of y'all messages. Okay, Mel said karma is definitely a bitch, and I feel no sympathy. I don't feel no sympathy for him either. You said, I wish you could have gotten the approval to set in a Candy. Candy. Who's Candy? Who's Candy? You said you what? Yeah, the grandmother ain't shit. The grandmother ain't shit. The auntie ain't shit. Shit. Lord have mercy. What's up, please, girl? Did I speak to you already? Okay, let me make sure I get all your... And they be at the cookhouse while the family members tell the girls to stay away from them. Yep, absolutely. I grew up Catholic. My mom told every adult we were left with that she would kill anyone who fucks with us. Ah, that's so funny. Because when I would ask my sons, even as grown men, I ain't gonna hold you. I didn't ask my son even as grown men, and I kind of stopped asking them because I figure, once children are grown, they're more open to talking about shit if something did happen to them, even though you might have asked them and always had an open, communication with them, and they know you love them. They know you would do something about it if something happened to them. Some kids, they just still don't say anything. So even as grown adults, I would ask them sometimes, you sure nothing? Y'all would tell me, and they both be looking at me like I'm crazy. Like, Mom, really? You think anybody would fuck? Exactly what you said, Black Swan. They said, Mom, as crazy as you are, do you think that anybody would fuck with us like that? On top of that, we would tell you, and we would fight, and we would, fuck them up. And I'm like, yeah, but I see you, Blaze. Hey, Blaze.
Hey, Hood Table. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you this morning, huh?
I'm a little triggered.
I get you. Hey, I tell people all the time, I was a victim as a child. So this is, this is a touchy subject for me, definitely. And I hate people who do stuff to kids. I really do.
Hood Table, I won't be long because I know I'm gonna end up crying because I had a couple brain surgeries. It messes with my emotions. So it's nothing wrong. It just happens. But I just wanted to say that's why I was spazzing out, hitting links, talking about the Yusuf situation so much, because y'all got to think I'm in Detroit and the local news was covering a lot more. I am very connected in Detroit. My Facebook page was a lot more, so I could see the family arguments and people justifying things. And the danger with this is that people brains rewire. I had to go to trauma therapy for the things that I went through when I was younger. Your brain literally literally rewires itself to deal with trauma. So people won't believe or won't accept things or will let somebody change their mind when they see something. I saw grown women with kids who got the information about Yusuf say, oh no, I can't deal with him. But when he got out and released that statement, they started making every excuse in the book of why it was the child's fault and not Yusuf's fault as a grown man for the situation he found himself in. They are not going to charge that auntie. They are not going to charge that grandma because in half the people's eyes, the child is the problem because she got to a place in life where she was teasing her auntie like, that's my man. That's not your man. She was doing too much. She was saying too much. But how was she? She was groomed. She was raised that way. She was in that environment where she thought that was right. She thought she was right in that. But at the end of the day, she was still a child. And it is still beefs going on out here where people really believe that that's that child's fault. That's why I had so much issue with me seeing Yusuf just releasing a statement and people going to bat for him like it was the 15-year-old's fault. What are we doing? It's going to be very hard to convict them other women because in some people's eyes, the child was the aggressor. The child was the problem. Even though he got bodies and victims, he was able to get in somebody's ear and say, oh, baby, that wasn't me. They lied to me about their age. Or, oh, baby, that wasn't me. This happened this way. And you don't want to believe it so bad, you let your brain rewire itself to believe what this F dude is saying to you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know, I went through a period of that when things happened to me when I was younger. Some believed, some didn't believe. And one thing I used to hear a lot, and I don't know if this was just a thing back in the day in the 70s, 80s, children, you know how they always say girls are fast,
Yep,
hot in
and
the
that's an
ass.
excuse.
You
Yep.
know what I'm saying? You let me tell you why most girls are fast and hot in the ass at a young age. It's because somebody's fucking with them.
Tell it.
That's
Tell
why.
it.
It's because somebody's fucking with them. That's why girls are fast. You know how you sound parents say, I can tell when the son's got a little sniff or something. You know what I'm saying? Because kids act different. Boys too. When something happens or when they get them some or whatever you want to call it, girls just don't wake up fast. They just don't wake up being flirtatious or things like that. That's parents need to insist, sit down and talk with their kids. When you see changes like that happen to your children, you need to sit down with them and inquire, get to the bottom of why they're changing, why they're acting like that, because it just don't happen like that. And that's the truth. When things were happening to me when I was younger, I thought this is the way things are supposed to be. I thought that this is what is expected of me. I thought this is normal. That older men, that things are supposed to happen to me like that. Even when I got older, and I ain't gonna hold you, it would be like some people, like old heads in my family. Girl, you look good. You fine if you wasn't my cousin, if you wasn't my, I'm like, why are you
Exactly.
saying stuff like that to a kid? You putting shit in their head as a kid, like shit like that. But yeah, if you think your child is being fast or acting loose or something like that, you better sit down and check her out. Take her to the motherfucking clinic. Because it's usually a reason why girls start acting like that. They just don't wake up one morning switching or, trying to holler at people. It don't work like that.
And
But yeah.
especially at that age, if a young child, if a young teenager is trying to go to bat for a man so hard, you know, something has to be going on there. It just doesn't come like that. It just doesn't come. Something is wrong. Those are red flags. If that child is going to bat, if that child is challenging you about your man, you're not gonna check your man. Like, come on now. But she chose to go at the child. She was
Yep.
mad with the child, and therefore the child was mad with her. So when a lot of people outside looking in, they only see the reaction of the child, thinking the child is the problem.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
thank you
That's
for letting me up. I'm gonna get out of here because, like I said, I am beyond triggered. I'm glad he's gone. I'm very glad he's gone. That's what needs to happen to all of them. But thank you, and I thank you for having this discussion too, because it's important. Because I really need people to know, Even people with common sense, I have seen them change their stance because of what somebody said, because they care about that person and they want to believe. Baby, it's not worth it. He's a
It's
dirty,
not.
dirty dog. Thank you. Bye.
You're welcome, love. You're welcome. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. Yeah, these type of topics are really, sensitive to some people. It can be touchy to some people. She is absolutely right, especially if you experience that or know somebody who experienced something like that before, as a child. But Mel said, did he do it to himself? That's what they saying. They saying that, but, and I just dropped the link in here too because Kimberly Black said something about Nico Jenkins. Nico Jenkins. His family does have a lot of history here. You said the sad part about Nico, his ancestors were legendary, being the first Indian seeking right in Omaha. And hello, boo. What I did was just drop a link to a little map of his ancestral roots. He comes from a crime family. Their name, he comes from the Leverings, Levering. The link that I sent you says meet the Leverings. And it shows their family tree. This is where Nico Jenkins comes from. And some of the family members you'll see on there have minimal or no criminal history, but the 50 individuals named include the clan's worst criminal offenders and others who are important to telling the family story. So it's a lot of them on there that are or were criminal offenders, but some of them weren't. But if you go all the way back, you can see like the grandparents, the great grandparents, and their crime history of the family. When he was arrested, y'all, not only was he sentenced, but even his sister helped him unalive one of the people that he, unalive. But yeah, and again, it was a 10-day killing spree that left 4 people dead. Yeah, it was 4 people. Did I say 5 earlier? I think I said 5. It was 4. That's just crazy. But yeah, as far as Jarvis Butts though, yeah, he was found dead. The Detroit man who pled guilty in the disappearance and murder of 13-year-old Neziah Harris, as well as 5 other criminal cases involving multiple crimes, multiple victims over several years, again, of the age of 4 to 13 years old, was found dead in his prison cell. He was being housed at a prison in Jackson. They said details about what happened hasn't been yet released. I'm sure it'll be released probably today, maybe later on today. I'm sure they'll have a press conference soon. But he was sentenced to 35 to 60 years in prison after entering guilty pleas during a pretrial conference before Judge Nicholas Hathaway under a sentencing agreement reached in February. The murder conviction stemmed from the case of Harris, who disappeared on January 9, 2024, after getting off a school bus on Detroit's east side. Her body has never been recovered. Investigators previously said digital evidence, phone records, witness statements, and forensic findings linked Butts to her death, and it is believed her body was dumped in the Rouge River near Berg and 7 Mile. The other cases involve multiple victims and sexual abuse of children over a span of years. Prosecutors outlined incidents dating back more than a decade involving girls between the ages of 4 and 12. Now, the other story said 4 and 13, but maybe they included Neziah in that, as well as incidents involving his own daughter when she was 8 years old. I did tell y'all that he was messing with his own kids, right? But several additional charges across the 6 cases were dismissed as part of the plea deal. And again, he had told the authorities that he will also tell them where her body was located. And again, if he did put her in a river, that's what I don't understand. If he put her in the river, because that was the last place where his phone was pinged, then where there's no body. She's probably floated away somewhere. So, but I guess the plea deal was more based on the fact that he just pleaded to murder. Because with the trial, he could have possibly been convicted of the other 5 but maybe not the murder. So maybe they just wanted to make sure that they got him on the murder by even allowing him to say where the body was, even if he dumped her in a river and the body's not there anymore. So I think it was just more important to get him on the murder. But you said the state, if he was alive, was willing to give Jarvis Butts parole in 30 years. This was not a life sentence upon not retrieving the body, but a second chance. That is justice. Yeah, that is justice for you. None of this makes sense because the woman haven't been held accountable. Absolutely. Nobody to lay to rest. That's the saddest part. The saddest thing to do with a person's body is to toss them away. Like, I mean, people don't even do dogs that bad. People will have a whole funeral and bury their dog, put a cross above it, flowers, people will do the most to a human that they won't even do to a pet. Just throwing somebody somewhere, just when your body is just tossed in the water or tossed in the woods somewhere, all the things that eat away at the body, the bones carry the body away to certain areas. There is no peace. There is no rest. I really believe that. Black Swan?
Hey, Hood Table, and hello,
Good
everyone in the
morning.
chat. Good morning. How are you all?
I'm good. How are you today?
I'm always blessed and grateful. Thanks for asking. I was just, I kind of was trying to get into your StreamYard. My other gadget wasn't working. My question is, how come none of the women whose children he was amongst, why aren't they being charged? I find it really odd also how this story, it should have been a lot bigger because he basically he was a serial pedophile. I-
Yes.
Like, it's there's no less than what 9 children
Mm-hmm.
that are unofficial documentation. But there's at least around 20 plus children that this man had accessible access to
Mm-hmm.
24 hours a day, and this girl, this child is being made off to be as in she was a fast little gal in a
Mm-hmm.
day and age where awareness can't say that she's a farcical gal, because I've heard this story about this girl in a manner of from the grandmother's family
Mm-hmm.
stating kind of as in, well, she never went to school. She was like what, under 10? And y'all were the grandmother abused her as well. Like there's so much weird things in regards to how so much of the community could have stepped in, so much went under the rug, and
Mm-hmm.
now that he's dead, it's supposed to kind of be as in we're just gonna leave it now. We're gonna leave it now, but we're not gonna do the proper investigations. The body's still unfound,
Mm-hmm.
from what I'm understanding. Um, nobody. It's like now that he's dead, it's like the Jeffrey Epstein situation. He's
Mm-hmm.
dead. There's no victims. Move on. How do you move like how do you move on from that when he should have been not trying to be mean. I really wanted him to get his due justice from his fellow inmates.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I really wanted him to have slow, like I didn't want them to out him within, you know what I mean? Literally,
Same here. Same here.
let him get a fix of his own works for many, many years, to the point where you're going to have a device attached to you to take a number 2. That was what I was wanting in regards to my belief in my own sick way of justice will figure itself out. That to me
Mm-hmm.
was what he should have, because also the whole court system of you killed a little girl, you're a serial pedophile, and you're going to get an eligibility of parole in 30 years. This is a young Negro man. We don't age. 30 years, he's still going to be good. 30 years, he's still going to be functioning.
Mm-hmm.
30 years in an American criminal system where if you understand how to play the game right and you're nice to the right people, you're out. You do all the right you do all the right amount of community service hours that you need to do over those 30 years. You're out. You're out. So the fact that nobody's been recovered, this man has 9 that we know of on record, and it's graphic stuff. It's very graphic stuff.
Very graphic stuff. And
Very graphic stuff.
keep in mind she was
And
pregnant too. So he
thank
didn't
you,
just unalive
thank
her,
you,
but the baby. Yeah.
thank you, thank you, thank you for reminding us about that. And the state of Detroit said that he was eligible to come out within 30 years. 30 years. And it's interesting, the people who have the most tears for this little girl aren't even her like direct family members, in the sense of they weren't they heard about all this in the sense of that's my blood. Oh my gosh, that's my blood, and I can't believe my other blood was right there and allowing it. Because that's
I
what
just can't
I've
believe
noticed.
it.
That's what I've noticed in who the family members who have the most tears for this little girl were the family members who didn't even live in state. The
It,
grandmother, the grandmother. How do you call your own granddaughter who lived in your house? And I don't know if this guy is her son, what the relate, because it was very odd that when it all was coming forward that he's the primary suspect, the grandmother was on TV making it be known how great this guy was and how fast she was. That she, the little girl, somehow tempted this wicked man. Remember the news? Those I remember those news clips because I was like, "That's disgusting," and I was shocked that the reporters weren't going at the grandmother harder in the sense of you lost custody of this little girl, and you're not, and you've been reported as abusing this little girl. You knew that this guy was this way. Why did you allow this guy to sleep in your house? Instead, it was like, well, she was a bit fast,
hmm
and he was a
And
bit
that's what I was just
slow.
talking to Judge Blaze about. That's usually when a child is acting fast, something is going on. And they
Thank
didn't
you.
even, nobody was advocating that. And people did call for Nazia's aunt and grandma to be both arrested. Because the thing with me is, if you know that some guy that has interest in you has already went to prison for 10 years and you hook up with them, do you really think that they're not going to mess with no little girls ever again? Like he had a criminal history, a past of doing that shit all the time and messing with people who got young kids. You know what I'm saying? And then the fact that you, the grandma, you know how he is. Like, and then she
Like I
let them
really
go.
when
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, babe.
that's my thing. I just don't. I really can't understand. Like, was he sexually pleasing all the older women as well? Because it's a
Yes.
it's a really
Yes.
weird. It's a really weird thing to call a little girl fast unless you and that man have something sexually going on yourself, or he is your child. He's your child, and you refuse to let anyone tell the truth about your nasty child, and it because you're kind of feeling to yourself, it screams how you failed. So you don't
Well,
want to come out here being a failure parent. So you're going to put blame on other people and
hmm
on a child. And that's why, like, for me, I can't understand how this is clear child neglect, child abuse, accessory to murder. I can't
Yep.
understand how none of these women are not seeing a day in court. Is it even just a day in a court the way we did Afro Man? Because that was a nonsense court situation. That was a waste of taxpayer money. So why can't we find time to parade all of the women them who this man was associated with? All the baby mama them, new
Yep.
and old, new and old. Why can't we just pray them in court? Just for the show of things, so people now see. You know what? Your neighbors are now going to know who you are. Everybody who have pickney and have their pickney around your pickney, everybody has to get questioned now. Everyone has to say, so your child will go around this pedophile woman? Do you? It's because I'm the country I come from. Paul Bernardo and Carla Homolka, they were our notorious child killers. Carla Homolka lives in your country now. My country every 5 years goes to your country and exposes her to her neighbors and says to her neighbors, do you know that this woman, she murdered around 5 Canadian girls and her own sister and raped her own sister with her husband at the time. Her children go to your children's school. Her husband is her lawyer who got her off, by the way. We had to change laws because of this woman. Literally had to change laws because of how this woman didn't spend a day in jail when she should have been in jail next to her stinking ex-husband. So
yeah, and you remember, I don't know if you remember, but the auntie, you know, the one who was dating Jarvis, she had testified in court that she knew that he was still messing with his exes and messing with her. So that's why people are saying he was messing with all the women, the baby mamas, and their babies, his own child who was 8, and also Naziah. He was messing with, just imagine he was sleeping with technically over like 15, 20 people without protection.
Disgusting.
Just disgusting. And they said bingo, you was dead on. That's what they're saying from the chat.
Like, to me, as I said, the adults need to be held accountable the women need to be held accountable the same way he got off. In my opinion, he got off. And you know who I really feel sorry for at the end of the day? All the children who are left in these women's hands because the state has done nothing for them. We all know those kids are not getting counseling. Their schools are not really improving their situation in regard to education. 10, 15 years from now, if you're to look back at his pickney-them that are here, how many of them are going to be in jail? How many of them are going to be on welfare? How many of them have not finished high school? So the problems are, it's such a systematic thing in regards to creating a new form of generational welfare, psychological imprisonment of emotional hardship. And this is all really and truly, the state could help by making sure that these kids have a better future, but they're not, because these kids are all still in the hands of the wicked women then, because these wicked women are going to go find a next idiot man, because these women think are pussy forward and they're pickney last. And the fact of the matter that the government sees this and these children are still in their hands, that's sad to me. That's really sad, because that's a tragedy in all of this. Them kids are still left
really
with women
sad.
who hate them. They're left with women who hate them, and everybody in the government, as in the court system, knows this. Let the bitch get up on stand and testify so she can still get a welfare check. These children are welfare checks. These children have no meaning to these women other than a check. And if that's all they are to these women don't deserve the check. Go out, take the kids away from them, no longer give them a check, and let them go outside and sell dirty pussy. But to allow the children to be abused so the women can get a check, I hope these children understand, grow up and understand at 21 and your life is falling apart, sue your fucking state. Because your state failed you.
The state, the family, that's exactly how I feel. Like
They
the
can't
only
really
people
go
I
after
feel
the
sorry
family.
for is I feel
The
sorry
family-
for the kids, because they have no, there's no justice. And some people might think, yeah, justice was served. He's
No, it
unalive.
wasn't.
But that's
These
not
children,
justice to me. I want them to suffer for as long as they can suffer. That's what I would want.
that's not justice. There's he has a gang of pickney that he has left behind with a bunch of useless bitches, and these useless bitches are going to literally create battered, abused adults. There's no justice. There
Nope.
is no justice because real talk, justice would be that these pickney, we all would be thinking to ourselves, at least the children left behind are going to be getting help. We know that there's nothing like that going on because you had one of the bitches on sitting on testifying that she knew what was going on. She knew that she was part of a nasty, dirty harem. She knew that the man was molesting the other baby mother's children and had the nerve to probably even kind of say that her niece may have even slightly, sexed herself up a little bit for her husband, boyfriend, pedophile, baby father.
And that's what happens
And
when
again,
they're groomed. That's what happens when
and
they're
again,
groomed.
thank you. We all know this. So we all know this. This is grooming. You can't say these things. This is grooming. We know this. But the fact of the matter that they're saying this out loud still, and nobody who's in the media who should know better is should be correcting this. Nobody in the media, these reporters, instead of picking sensationalizing things, are not bringing up these kids are still in the hands of these women.
And that's the sad part. They still have custody. That's
Like
that's that's the sad
when I
part.
say
Still have
America has
custody.
like America used to take black children away from black mothers just for your child was sick from school that day and you did the responsible thing and called your child's school and said, my child is sick. I have a doctor's note. America was taking your kid away from you because you didn't send your kid to school because your kid not going to school meant that teacher didn't get paid for your kid that day. America used to be real good about taking black kids away from their parents for nonsense. Heck, look up Kamala Harris's
That's
record.
true.
Look up Kamala Harris's record. Look up how many black mothers who had good jobs lost everything from one sick kid missing a day of school. And these guys right here, you're telling me these guys right here, who literally are running their own pedophile ring. Because imagine if Jarvis was a real pedophile who was taking photos. This man was just a self. This man wasn't thinking on. This man wasn't like pedophile in the level of I'm trying to make a business out of this while pleasure myself. This man was pleasure himself, but he was degenerate and nasty with it. And these women still have these children. And
I don't
every
know if
man in
anything's
this
going to happen in the future, but I think
no
some other charges should have been.
head table.
Yeah.
If it was going to happen, it would have done happen. If it was going to happen, it would have done happen. What if the only way anything is going to happen is one of these picnic come into some serious harm again, and or one of these picnic get caught up in the law like that Jenkins guy, and then the attention come back to, oh, this is Jarvis's Butts baby mother and his kid. Maybe they shouldn't have the kids. That's when this conversation is going to come up because there's no, to me, the fact that the woman testified in court the picnic that must still live in our house, nothing's happening. Nothing's happening. She's qualified as being eligible to keep her kid, keep the kids there. There's food in the cupboard, there's a roof over their head, and there's blankets on their bed. That's all you need. That's all you need. Because one would think, upon this Sarah Harrison, all this happening, one would think Jarvis would all the baby mothers would lose all their kids right away. Nobody lost their kid even for 24 hours. And the kids who were abused they're describing a grooming situation. They're describing a mother who clearly was neglectful, clearly doesn't mind her kids properly. All of this is right there in testimony, and the government said, you know what? As long as you testify against him, we're just going to leave you alone. And they said yes.
Yep, that's what it sounds like. And Melissa says serving time for the same child abuse the first time didn't seem to phase him though. So I think unaliving him is what is needed. I can understand you feeling that way. Yeah, I understand that, Mel. Yeah. That is true. Sometimes with these people who do that same thing for years and years and years, even people who do it to grown women or grown men or whatever. Yeah, sometimes you think like if they keep doing it and keep getting in trouble serving time, let them out again, they might even do it even if they're 40, 50, or 60 years old, because most of the heinous people out there doing the most heinous crimes, they tend to be old. Like, nigga, you need to go sit your ass down somewhere. What you still doing out here fucking around like old
Thank
ass?
you.
Yeah, so I
Thank
get
you.
you. Hey,
But
Donna.
that's what
Dundee.
that was my point too. Like how I'm this is probably going to sound really horrible and really rude. I believe that if you've been convicted of a sex offense, I believe you should be castrated, and you should be chemically castrated first and foremost. And I personally believe you should never be allowed to see the day of light again, because there is no treatment. I haven't said cure. There's no treatment to sex offending. Child pedophilia, there's no treatment to that. There is
I
no cure
really
to that.
believe that.
There,
I
there
believe
are
that.
le- the pedophiles and the pediarists. They will literally talk about levels. So level the cleanest level where we really shouldn't as a society discuss them are the ones who only look. Now, where does the only looking part come from? Where did you get the images? If they're photos of other people's children, we're told that the ones who only look, we should leave them be because they don't touch.
Yep.
Then there's the other level, the adults who believe that they are attracted to, that it's natural for a grown ass man, as in you're 18 years and older, to be attracted to somebody who's under the age of 9 or 10. They believe that that is a normal thing, and that that these minors are capable of understanding this relationship, because it goes back to Pythagorean, Spartan, pederast, Socrates society.
Yeah, because back then it was okay
That,
to mess
and
with
it was
little boys and make them their
again, but we're also not even really being
yeah.
understanding in the sense of we're being told a story where nobody is really understanding the details. That Spartan men wouldn't have proper sex with their women upon entering into manhood because of being abused as young boys.
As young boys.
They they didn't understand how to have proper sex with a woman, and the ones who truly were homosexual got to live a bachelor life of being pedophiles.
And imagine how many people back in the day would have been in prison for the shit now. Like, it was normal back in the day.
It was normal. It was completely normal. Christianity made it a thing where it's not to be, as in whatever. My basic point is pedophiles can never be treated. There's no treatment. Once convicted, I really do believe. And rapists, chemical castration, you sit your ass in jail and you die. To me, that is such a beautiful line of free labor for a prison system. But yet, I find there's so much forgiveness and finding a way to rehabilitate pedophiles. And I'm now understanding why, because of the government being so disgusting. Because if you were to really deal with pedophilia, that means a lot of the people you see in powerful positions would have to be dethroned. And again, it goes back to the Epstein thing, because like it's weird that drugs, the wrong kind of drugs nowadays, so fentanyl, you get caught up with a certain amount of fentanyl, and it you fall into a drug dealing situation with that your amounts look like you could be a drug dealer. That could do you in what, a minimum of what, 10 years? And yet a a pedophile a pedophile can get parole.
Yep, and
If the
Donnie, you're
news,
right.
if the news,
It's
if your
derivative
community, if
power.
your local
Mhm.
news doesn't blow this story up, this pedophile will come off with literally parole.
Yep, and
It's so
Donnie is
weird.
right. It has a lot to do with power too. It has a lot to do with power,
Yes,
and that's regardless if it's children or somebody grown or doing something harmful to somebody grown. It's about the power there as well. With anybody who preys on people, it's a lot about the power. It's a lot about it. This power trip, mixed with
it's
mental
sad.
illness, and it's just, yeah. But I
It's
really
so
wish
sad because
that something would have been done to the grandparents or the auntie, or yeah.
I for me, I think the greatest thing to know is if anybody from this community chooses to even, if they want to stay anonymous, just come out and say, "Oh, we're making their lives hell. They can't shop here anymore. They can't go here anymore. They literally as by themselves, they can't come anywhere. They have to have their kids in order for us to be nice to them. They now know that their children are the only way that they can move around this community without us like throwing tomatoes at them." Because I can't understand how they haven't been run out of the community yet. I guess I'm way too old school, and I come from an old school community where I'm not gonna lie, a man got caught in our community for nonsense like this, and he got run out of our town. My friend's dad divorced her mom to get with a younger woman, and they both got ran out of town. I'm old school. I still kind of move like that in my own community. If I'm not into you and you do something that I find very socially despicable, and this is a community, and I guess it's because everyone knows that I'm the asshole who will go start shit when it's out of pocket.
Yeah.
I'm the first one. I'm the first one, literally the first one when I see you in public, the first one to let you give it to you hard. I'm one of the ones. I don't deal with
Mhm.
any of the new people who come into the community and your children are bad. I'm literally one of the ones. I will walk your kid right back to your house and cuss you out as a parent.
Mhm.
Because
Mhm.
we don't have police in our neighborhood. So for you now and your pick me now to bring police into our neighborhood, we now have to make sure that you understand what you're doing, and we now need to make your life miserable because you're making our life miserable.
Mhm.
We're
And
not
Melissa,
moving.
Melissa said they know he was supposed to tell as far as the plea deal, but not to the public. But did he at least tell? It was part of the plea deal. He had to truthfully. They say he had to agree to truthfully state where the body was, but he did not get the information during the open court hearing. They said they were satisfied with his answer. So I guess he told them something. But again, she supposedly was dumped in a body of water. Like I think it was like 9 miles away. I can't remember how many miles away it was. But if he, truthfully dumped her in the water, there's probably
How
no
come she
body.
didn't? Yeah,
So I
like
don't know.
yeah, it's to me. Yeah, the the whole thing. I'm sorry, but the whole thing, it's just for me. he was going to get his justice while he was in jail from his fellow inmates, and that would have been it. But for him to literally get the easy way out, that sucks. That really does suck. Because it's honestly, he got the easy way out.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And
That
even
was
if he
like
did
that
do
was
it to
literally
himself,
a cyanide pill.
yep. And even if he did do it to himself, the main reason he probably would have done that, not for fear that he is going to just be locked up forever. He knows what's going to happen to him, probably on a daily, regular. Somebody's going to make his light skin, pretty long head, good hair ass. They
Oh yeah,
bitch.
he's gonna be somebody's girlfriend.
Yeah.
He literally was going to be somebody's girlfriend, and we would have been blessed 6 months from now to see him in a sick braid out and some pink lipstick on. We would have been. This is what hurts me most. You know what I mean? That's what hurts me. The little things that we would have gotten pleasure of watching him squirm out of. Because Detroit's kind of grimy. They would have smuggled a phone in to show, yeah, we're doing him the way he did. We're literally making him a little bitch. Think he can come around and just abuse children and come sit with us? Yeah, we'll show you. We're gonna treat you like them children, and we're gonna let everybody see it, especially your family, especially your family. But he took that away from us. He took that away from us. That's it's too bad for us in that sense, and it's again tragic that these children are still in the hands of women who mean them no good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think one of the greatest things that a memorial for her would be, a great memorial for this wonderful little girl would be a great thing, while also making sure you have the faces of her perpetrators, grandmother, auntie. I think that there should be kind of posters warning, if you see these women, keep your children away from them. There's no. I just find it so sad that he's not here. He's not getting any he's not getting any real punishment, and the women are going to continue collecting welfare checks like it was just another day. And probably a couple of them are probably already, you know what I mean, dating, if they date, if their idea of dating, their version of dating. Because look at what they picked. I'm pretty sure none of them have a baby father who does not have a criminal record of some sort. They're probably thinking that this guy was not as bad as the others.
Yep. Yep. But yeah, that's all I had to add to the update of the Jarvis Butts, Naziah Harris situation. I want to thank you so much, Black Swan, for joining me this morning. Also, Just Blaze had hit the link this morning as well to express her commentary and her thoughts as well. Sislo tried, but it's storming out there, so Sislo's connection wasn't working very well. But I do appreciate you, Black Swan, for always supporting as well. And you guys,
Thank you for having me. Can you kick me off? Because I had struggled to get on. I had to literally
Oh,
use a
no
different
problem,
device.
no problem. I got you, hun.
Thank you, everyone. And I'm sorry for rambling. Y'all have a great day. And please go into the weekend loving your family, looking at what you have that is awesome. Because this isn't how I wanted my weekend to go. But blessed to everybody.
Yes, blessings to everyone. Keep an eye on your children, y'all. Keep an eye on your children. Yes, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. You know, Tanya love the kids. I love the kids, y'all. I love the kids. And again, you know, having some going through things, you know, similar to this as a youth, as a child, you know, it is a really touchy subject, you know, for a lot of people who have been through that type of thing. Every time I see this shit, especially when it's adults that seem like they neglected the child and didn't like have advocate for the child, didn't protect the child. It's just sick. It's just sick. I've always been like really, really hesitant on moving a man in with me, or even, things like having a guy stay with me, when I was raising my sons. So I didn't, I dated, and messed around with guys and, stuff like that. But I never like had a relationship so serious where I moved a man into the house with me. And it could have a lot to do with, what happened to me when I was younger. You know what I'm saying? So, and then I just hear so much of it, and have even seen some of that type of shit happen to people that I know, when I was growing up, to other people's kids. And I'm like, fuck that. I'm not trying to give nobody no chance. And, a lot of people, like me, we might have suffered, or missed out. I don't want to say suffer, but maybe missed out on some great opportunities by maybe not letting something like that happen. But I always also said that if I was ever to even marry, that would be the only time that I would actually live with a man anyway. So if it wasn't marriage involved, I definitely don't want to live with another guy just to be, as the old folks say, shacking up. I don't have no interest in shacking up. I would prefer for the guy to have his crib and I have my crib. I can come see you. You can come see me. You know what I'm saying? You can have my toothbrush and my little perfumes, a few little things in the bathroom, and a few little night clothes, and things like that. And you can have a few things, one dresser drawer, at my crib. But yeah, I never really wanted to actually live with a man again after, doing that, with my son's fathers and stuff like that. I never wanted to do that unless I got married again. So that wouldn't happen anyway. But anyway, y'all, everybody who tuned in today, please make sure, if you haven't on the way in, on your way out, please make sure you like and share the video on your way out. Please and thank you so much. And also, your girl is on the road to 9K. So if you can please make sure that if you happen to be new here, that you subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can catch our lives, our replays, our uploads. For the newest people here on my channel, I appreciate all my new subscribers. Over the last 28 days, in your analytics, it shows you it always shows you what's going on in the last 28 days. And it looks like over the last 28 days that I got 200 new subscribers. So I do appreciate all my new subscribers, all my day ones, the people who've been rocking with me for a while. I do appreciate all my subscribers, those who like and share the videos, those who hit my channel, the panel links, enjoying the conversation, all the engagement in the chat. I do appreciate the cash apps, the super chats, you guys. I really, really do. All the support, all the love. On this day, Thursday, March 26th, again, the one who unalived the beautiful Neziah Harris, Jarvis Butts, he was found unalived in his prison cell. The authorities say that it's apparently a suicide. They haven't given all the details, but I'm assuming a press conference will be probably today, maybe tomorrow, on the situation. But Jarvis Butts, to me, as I said and expressed already, I don't think justice prevailed in this situation. I don't know how the family of Neziah Harris feels about this situation, or how his family feels about this situation. I know some people might be happy, some people might be sad, but nobody should ever allow anybody like this in their family or around any of their children. Absolutely. That's how I was, Stacy. That's exactly who I was. I had a few people in my family, and then I had a few people that I knew who were my son's best friend's parents. You know what I'm saying? So only a few people, a handful of people, was allowed to keep my kids. And that's if I needed them kept. Because for the most part, my kids were with me, or they were at school or daycare. So, and then as they got older and they could really advocate for themselves because they was older. You know, with little children, you know, I was a little more protective over them when they were smaller, because with small kids, they can't always tell you things and explain things the right way. And, you know, even in crimes, some children have accidentally even identified the wrong person, you know, or said the wrong names, or, you know, things like that, because they're children. But so that around that time, I definitely kept my children closer than close. The only one who watched them then was my mother or their fathers. But as they got older, you know, I would have, like, you know, certain people in my family that I really trusted. You know, they could spend the night with them and their kids. But other than that, a few of their friends, a few of their besties, their homies, you know, their parents, you know, they could kick it over there with them. But other than that, yeah, I didn't. Yeah, they couldn't just go anywhere. They couldn't. I always have to know where my kids was at all times. All times. But yep, protect the kids, y'all. Protect the kids. And on that note, you guys, again, if you want to donate to the platform, $, the hood table 402. I do want to say a thank you to, hold on, let me pull up my Cash App, because somebody sent me a Cash App yesterday. Let me see. It was Gemini. Did Gemini drop down today, y'all? I don't think I saw Gemini in the chat, but Gemini 75. Thank you so much for the Cash App, hun. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much, love. But yeah, so if anybody wants to donate to the Cash App, please $ the hood table 402, or send a super chat to support the goals. And you said, oh, he did not know. I pray he told him. I hope he did, Stacy. I hope he did. Even if he, like I said, even if he put her in that water that they thought he did in the river, where his phone last pinged, if that's where he really did, I hope he really explained. You know, I know it got to be hard to hear how your loved one died. And, you know, sometimes as a parent, or as a loved one, sometimes they just need to know. They just need to know, even if it's horrific. They just need to know, what was their last words? Did she ask for somebody? Did she say somebody's name? Did she, you know, sometimes it's so hard, but people have to know. Like, I think I would like to know. I think I would like to know. If somebody close to me was unalived, I think I would want to know what happened. What did you do? How did you do it? Was it easy? Was it slow? Was it quick? I think I would really, really want to know, because when you don't know, you have all these imaginations. Like, you know, people who lose children to never be seen again, I can imagine what they go through every night. Every time they think about that child, every time they walk past their bedroom, like, what really happened to my child? And it's so unnerving. And you have so many restless nights. I can only imagine. Mm-mm-mm. You say, yes, my bestie, until he was ready to go to school. My daughter taught him colors and things. Yep. So, I mean, even my grandbaby, who's 4, he's just now going to be starting school. He's starting late. And it was because his mother just wanted him to be home. She taught him, I don't want to call it homeschooled, but he learns so much. The boy is so very bright, so very smart. He knows a lot of things. So I know he's definitely prepared for school. But yeah, my son, my grandson's mother, we all have taught him so many things. Everything we bought him, like birthdays, Christmases, most of the stuff was always learning stuff, books all the time, you know, learning toys, learning games, learning tablets. Like, you know, we really, really got him, you know, prepared as much as we can, not being, you know, college educated teachers or whatnot. But yeah, he's very smart, very, very smart. Oh, and his vocabulary is very wide. So I'm really anxious for him to start school this year at one of the most prominent schools in our district. But yeah, she kept him home because she didn't want nobody watching him. She didn't want nobody, you know, keeping him. And the only people that he ever was with was either me or his other grandmother, or at home with his parents. Never went nowhere. Nowhere. And even if I was to take him somewhere with me, like to a kid's party, a birthday party or something in our family, he would be right with me. I kept my eye on him all the time. When he's here at my house, he has a Ring camera in his bedroom. I mean, I'm really, really, really protective when it comes to my children. And my sons, they knew that when they had children, I would probably be worse. Because, you know, parents tend to love their grandchildren a little bit more than their children. But that's what grandparents are supposed to do. So when my baby was born, and yes, I call him my baby, and my son calls him, come get your baby, you know. But when he was born, he told him, he said, your grandma's going to be really protective. You know, she's going to really, and I'll be calling over there. What he doing? Where he at? Did y'all feed him today? Put him on the phone. Did you eat breakfast today? Did they feed you over there? Yes, yeah. I'm like, of course, I'll just be playing, dragging it out. But yeah, I'll be like, you make sure you let me know if your mama and daddy ever be mean or ever, don't let them spank you. They bet not spank you. Y'all bet not spank my baby. I'm going to come over there and I'm going to take them. So yeah, it's a big joke, you know, throughout our family because they know how overprotective I am. But yeah, I don't play. I really don't play when it comes to my kids or my grandkids, and my sons know it. So that's one thing that ain't a joke. I don't play about them. But on that note, I wish somebody in Naziah's family felt the same way. Anyway, rest in peace, Naziah. Wherever you are, whatever happened to you, rest in peace, beautiful Naziah and her unborn child. My condolences to Naziah and the family members who really cared for her. I ain't gonna say all. I'm gonna say my condolences to the family members who really cared for her. Stay safe, be blessed, remain vigilant at all times, and always remember to keep it hood. I'm out. Bye.